everyone. Welcome to Crime Fighters, the police and you. I am Ramat Umar. Olatunji Disu, the Commissioner of Police, Rivers State Police Command, is not just a dedicated and proactive top-ranking police officer, but also a man of remarkable leadership qualities. His calm nature and proactive approach to policing testify to his commitment to duty. CP Disu is a composed and humble police officer, a goal-setter and a goal-getter. He is approachable and relates to all his subordinates, fostering a sense of camaraderie and respect. He values their inputs, seeks their counsel before making decisions, and acknowledges their efforts, further strengthening the bond within the team. His commitment to teamwork and his ability to inspire and motivate officers and the rank and file of Rivers State Police Command are assets that work for him. CP Disu's leadership style is characterized by a strong personal belief in serving humanity. He believes in the dictate of leading by example. Hence, he and his team confront the security challenges facing Rivers State. Within a short stint of 7 months as the Commissioner of Police for Rivers State Police Command, he swiftly hunted and neutralized Gift Opera, aka Tubaba, the mastermind behind the gruesome massacre of SP Bako and Gbashem, the DPO, Ahonda East Division, in 2023. He also planned and hunted down Izuma David Odirike, also known as General Solution, a notorious cult leader who had been on the wanted list of security agencies since 2016. In a sting operation, CP Disu collaborated with his counterparts in Delta State Command to neutralize one Peter Daddy Chukwu, a notorious cultist and kidnapper. Thus, his outstanding contributions in cracking sensitive cases did not go unnoticed. He was honored with the prestigious Commissioner of Police of the Year award at the Nigerian Police Meeting Award Ceremony in Abuja by the Inspector General of Police, IGP Olukayode Egbetokun. This recognition highlights his dedication to law enforcement and his remarkable impact on crime fighting and prevention in Nigeria. In a chat with the executive producer, Crime Fighters, the Police and You, CP Olatunji Disu bears his mind on how he has confronted the security challenges in Rivers State.
CP, welcome to Crime Fighters, the Police and You.
Thank you so much.
You were awarded the Best Commissioner of Police by the Inspector General of Police in the maiden edition of the awards night. How did you feel when you were announced?
I felt good. The nomination itself was something of pride to me. I felt so happy about it. And everybody in the command were so happy because I pushed them. I pushed them to really work. And for us to now get that award shows them that it was worthwhile. So it was a thing of celebration to every police officer in Rivers State.
What has given you the impetus to excel in any of the offices that you have occupied?
I wanted to be a policeman. While even in primary school, I started reading James Hadley Chase. I read about investigations, I read about operations, and then I had an experience where the mother of my roommate was shot and killed in my presence. Yes, while in the university, I went to their house. We were about to go out, and all of a sudden, the 72-year-old woman came on visit in a 505. Before she came out of the vehicle, armed robbers came. I saw them. I saw the pistol. I saw them shot and killed the 72-year-old woman. And this gave me a lot of a nightmare. I kept on looking everywhere, searching for the armed robbers everywhere I went to. So it contributed to making me look out to being a policeman. And being a policeman, I found out that you must give joy to the people. I found out when you do good things for people, for example, you recover their car, you arrested armed robbers who have come to rob them, at that particular moment, they are very happy. So it gives me joy to know that I gave them that happiness.
Before we talk about late DPO Bako, I would like you to address the issue of cultism. I hear they have up to 6 or 7 cults groups in Rivers. How have you managed these groups?
The first thing I did was to talk to my tactical team leaders, to be briefed about the situation of things on the ground. Because I worked there does not mean I was conversant, updated with what was happening in Rivers State. So I needed them to put me through. We did that. We did crime mapping of the old states. We knew what was happening at everywhere. Crime statistics was a regular thing that we started doing. We created a map where we can have crime mapping of all our black spots. And then we're able to identify leaders of all these cult groups. We were able to get history of all their criminal activities. And we did profiling of all of them. A lot of them were profiled. We had long lists of all these cultists that have been profiled. Cultists, kidnappers, armed robbers, we had their profile. So we decided to start coming after them one after the other. And that is what we started to do. And those are all the successes you saw we culminated in what we have been able to do so far. A lot of kidnappers have been arrested, a lot of armed robbers have been arrested, cultists have been arrested, and a lot of them neutralized when they put up fierce battle with the police. So the officers have been motivated, the officers have been trained again and again, and most importantly, the officers are ready to go with little supervision from me.
A divisional police officer was killed in Ahoda in a very, terrible way. His body was dismembered, and the culprit who carried out that dastardly act had the temerity to show the severed head of the DPO, and the entire country was agog. You were the principal staff officer at that time. When you saw those gory pictures, how did you feel?
We are police officers, we have families, we have relatives, and then we are transferred far away from our families to go and work, protect lives and properties. We represent the government, and we should not be killed anyhow. Now, you killed a policeman and you dismembered him, you disgraced the corpse of the policeman. You are not only doing that to that particular policeman, you are doing that to the federal government of Nigeria. You have cut the federal government of Nigeria, you are dismembering the federal government of Nigeria. And the federal government definitely will need to go after you. And do not forget that I've already worked in this state previously. I've worked here, I was a DPO, Elimbu, I was DPO, Elelewon, I was Commander SARS in this state. I have been Commander Anti-Kidnapping, and I was ACCID. So invariably, I know this town, I know these people so well.
The young man they call Gift, David Opara alias Tubaba, I'm told he was very notorious in the axis of Ahonda East where he operated. And for a long period of time, he became a terror in that axis. You dare to go after him and eventually neutralize him. I need you to speak to that.
Like I mentioned earlier, it was a nationwide incident. A police officer of that ranking was killed and his body cut to pieces. And they displayed it to everybody to see. That was a challenge to the federal government of Nigeria, a challenge to the police and all other security agencies. And don't forget that the Inspector General of Police too was not happy about the situation. He kept on talking about it every day, even while I was the PSO to the Inspector General of Police. When I didn't know at all that I'll be coming to Rivers State, the Inspector General of Police was always on the phone with the then Commissioner of Police, always discussing the issues and progress about what they are doing on capturing Tubaba. And when I was posted to the place, the Inspector General of Police took it upon himself to give me specific instructions. He directed that we should make all efforts to get at the person who disgraced our police officer. And every day, the Inspector General of Police was getting the progress report and was putting little pressure on me, telling me every time he sees me or talk to me, that is a month I have not gotten to Baba. CP is 2 months, you have not gotten to Baba. So as he put pressure on me, I put pressure on my officers as well. And then Rivers State, we have a wonderful relationship with other security agencies, the Nigerian Army, the Navy, the DSS, the Civil Defense, uh, road safety. All of us work together as one in this state. And we had a lot of security meetings where it was decided that injury against one is injury against all of us. We had a lot of meetings. We share intelligence among ourselves, and then everybody went out to ensure that we got Tubaba. So it was not a thing of yes, we did it. All of us did this job together, and the Inspector General of Police granted it. A team of officers from the IRT was dispatched to me here in Rivers State with special tasks of analyzing all the information intelligence we have. That was why it made it look as if we're not doing anything while we're working a lot. We got to know his profile. We worked on Tubaba. We gathered a lot of information. He chose a very, very difficult terrain to hide. He hid himself in a camp in Idumode. And as we attempt to get at him, he will move further into the forest. We collaborated with the Nigerian Air Force. We gathered intelligence which we sent to the Nigerian Air Force. They saw the intelligence we gave to them, and then they gave us good reply that this was actionable. They were so happy with the level of intelligence that we have done. And then at a particular time, the Nigerian Air Force came and assisted us to soften the ground. A lot of their men were hit and they became jail-free. We gave them time before we finally assaulted the camp of Tubaba in Odemode. It was a very fierce battle. A lot of things were recovered in their camp. And as they were escaping, they were destroying oil installation and moving away. Before finally they ran to Ibras. Ibras is still in Aoda, but Aoda East at this particular time. Their intention was to join the other cult group in Ibras, but we were able to corner them. We had a fence battle with them, and Tubaba died in Ibras. But being a very, very notorious cult group that they are, the gang members went away with the body.
Your men didn't have access to the corpse. And you know our Nigerian were doubting Thomases because of the deficit trust between the public and the government. They wanted to see the corpse. How were you able to recover the corpse of Tubaba?
First, let me mention to you one of the questions you asked me earlier. Tubaba was a terror to the community. Almost all the communities in Aoda, West and East were deserted because of his activities. He kills people at whims, at caprices, as he wanted. Nobody dare bring out their goods to sell without settling Tubaba. You cannot set up any company in that area without paying him royalties. He kills people whenever he wanted. Whenever a decision was taken in the community, if it doesn't go the way he wanted, he comes around and cancels it. So he was a terror. He raped little ladies, little girls as he wanted. He killed a lot of young girls and used them for rituals. He killed pregnant women and removed the babies in their wombs. So he was a terror to everybody in that community. He had a wonderful group that goes around with him, all armed. Our intelligence showed us at that particular time that he had nothing less than 30 men with him, all armed, well armed, sophisticatedly. And that was why we went after him. We succeeded in assaulting his camp. He ran out very early in the morning. Like I mentioned earlier, he was destroying oil installation as he went along. We caught up with him in Ibras. He died in Ibras. But members of his gang went away with the body, as I mentioned earlier. Now, how do we convince members of the community? How do we convince the nation that yes, Tubaba had been killed? It was so difficult to convince them. Nobody believed it has happened. So I came back and addressed the men. I thanked them for a wonderful job they have done because I knew the effort everybody has put into the job. I thanked them for the job and I encouraged them that I know that definitely we'll find out where the corpse was kept. So we went back to the table and re-strategized, went back to the community, gathered intelligence. I want to tell you that the people of that community and River State in general have been wonderful with the Nigerian police. They have cooperated with us wonderfully. Any information we wanted, we got. People really, really assisted us. And don't forget that the governor placed a bounty on the head of Tubaba and members of his gang. People came up to give us wonderful information. They hand that money. When we couldn't find the corpse, we did a lot of things. We went into almost all the community. At the end of the day, through credible information, we were able to locate where the corpse was kept in a bush deep down in the forest in Ibras. We got the information late at night and we didn't want to take the risk. We decided to brave it and enter the forest that night. We moved in with nothing less than 23 of our patrol vehicles. Men briefed and told the importance of recovering that body. The body was recovered around 2 midnight in the forest. It took us about 2 hours to get to the spot. It was so difficult to exhume the body and more difficult to bring it out of the forest because you have to climb up, come down, avoid trees. The body was found in a very shallow grave with bottles of shinap and other things placed on top of it, military uniform placed on it, probably for them to be able to identify the place whenever they wanted to. We knew they did some rituals on the body before they left. So the body was brought back to Aoda. The funny thing was when we brought the body to Aoda, only women from the community came out. No man came out. It took about 1 or 2 hours before the men started coming out. The women were crying and they were laying a lot of curses on the body. They wanted to sight the body. They wanted to be sure that this was Tubaba. Tubaba made it easy for us in that instance because he had a very visible tattoo on his hands and he had a well-known gap tooth. The people saw it and without doubting it, they knew that that was Tubaba.
Are you doing anything to ensure that you engage more meaningfully with the communities that you serve?
Definitely, River State is a peculiar place. You cannot compare it to a lot of other states. We have a lot of youth groups, various groups comprising of youth. And don't forget that I've been here before. I know a lot of these groups. I know the leadership of this group. And most importantly, the traditional rulers. I've taken my time to visit a lot of them. They are ever willing to assist. The youth are there. I have a lot of information to work with in this state.
When I saw the clips that you showed, you were doing banter and also chopping knuckle with your men, rank and file. Do you know how far that will go in motivating them?
In this job of policing, I've been one of the lucky ones. Lucky ones in the sense that when we joined this job, we had mentorship. We had senior police officers who took us up and mentored us. My first mentor was now retired, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Adeduba. He has retired. He told me a lot of things about policing. If I remember so well, he told me when report comes, for example, if they called me that I was robbery somewhere, he wanted me to get the full report before moving to the robbery scene. And he told me the positions to take while the robbery was going on. I never forgot about it. He told me about corruption. He told me about beating suspects. He told me about education, that you must continue to read and find out how policing are done in other climes. So he was a wonderful mentor. Whenever he goes out on operation, whenever he feels that this was a big one, he will say, "Kid, stay." The ones he felt he could manage with me, he carries me along. And then I worked in Lagos State, where I worked with about 2 or 3 commissioners of police, wonderful commissioners of police I worked with, Fatai Osheni, Ega Imoimi, uh, the all these are wonderful officers who left one thing or the other with me. Fatai Osheni will carry me out everywhere he goes to. We say this is the way to go about it. And most importantly, he's friendly with all of his officers. He never had a hair of a commissioner of police. So I thought probably I've gained from all these officers. I talk with them freely. They walk into my office. I found that they are free to discuss their family issues with me. The ones I could solve, I solved. The one I can push further, I assisted them in pushing it. And when it comes to operation, don't forget that I served in this state, and I've always been in operations, investigations, and tracking. I still felt I could go with them. So they are very free to discuss with me. All the tactical teams are free to discuss operations with me. At times, I threaten them when I want a result and I don't get. I'll tell them, "Do you want me to go and do it myself?" And they say, "No, no, no, no. Okay, I will do it." And then they now go back and give me the result. Working with them has been wonderful. They are young. I felt I should give them part of the wealth of my experience that I've got.
You went to visit a certain grandma who apparently was one of the women that were enlisted into the police in the 50s, and that became a subject of discussion. That touched a lot of people, including me.
Funny thing is, the moment I came in as the commissioner of police, one of the first things I did was to get the list of all the retired police officers, because I know that group is a collection of police experience. I know most of them are indigenous of River State. I know if things are tough, that is where I'm going to run to today. So I tried and got across to them. I tried to have contact with them because I know they will not leave me if it is tough. And then they've been coming around to say, "Well done in this area. You need to put your eyes in this area." I heard about Mama, and I've tried about 2 or 3 times to visit Mama. One thing or the other will come up. So that particular day, I decided with my women police officers that we must visit Mama. And then we visited Mama, and then it was a wonderful experience for all of us. I was happy. I went. I saw a 94 years old babe, very strong, articulate. Her English were impeccable. Queen's English, she was teaching us to us, and she was correcting a lot of things we're doing, teaching me police work in 1 second. And I didn't forget one of the things she said. She said they were 20 when they enlisted in Nigerian Police Force. Then 20 young ladies. And that after the training, the then Inspector General of Police called them and told them, "Do not fail me. Do not fail Nigerian police. If the 20 of you do well, they will continue to recruit women police." And she said she felt they did well. That was why women police became a team that is now general in Nigerian police. She was so wonderful. She did not want us to go. She followed me out. She spoke to the women police. She inspected the women police. She looked at their dressing, and then she said, "Yes, these are good-looking women police."
I remember when you resumed office as Commissioner of Police River State, the state was a bit turbulent immediately after election. And former governor of the state alleged that police tear gassed him. That was prior to your assumption of office. You took over and the crisis was still on. About that time, the State Assembly was pulled down. The police was now dragged into the political fight between the godfather and the son. Can you speak to that?
sincerely, I would not want to agree that we're not dragged into it. It was a very, very difficult period for me as the new commissioner of police in the state, and very difficult time for my police officers as well, especially my divisional police officers and my area commanders, who have to deal with them in their various areas of jurisdiction. We made up our mind as the police that we are going to be neutral. We are not politicians, because we know we cannot beat the politicians in the field of politicking. Again and again, I had meetings with my men and warned them, let us stay apart, don't let us join any group. If you think back, we were fighting legal battles. We are getting this order from this court, we are getting the other order from that court. So it was difficult to really weigh the court orders, because that's a specialized area, specialized terrain. I look back into my command. For your information, I have 21 lawyers, 21 police lawyers. So what did I do? I brought our lawyers together. It was their duty to weigh all the court orders, and then we take wonderful decisions. Sir, you are not going to do this. You are not going to do this because of this, because of that. And then they have been able to guide me. They are a wonderful set of lawyers. They have been winning their cases. And then I'm happy I had this group of lawyers working with me here. The problem is still on. We're expecting it any moment. And I think the best way to go about it is, whenever they bring up their legal issues, we have the legal department to tackle it. It was not easy. The radio was agog at that particular time. If I don't do the bidding of this particular group, I'll get the feeling from the radio. That means somebody brought me to come and do their bidding. Whenever it does not favor them, they too come up and say, I have shifted to this camp. So both of them have complained at a particular time or the other. But when the whole thing simmered down, I started hearing a different story. Oh, he was not taking part. He was trying to be neutral. I've spoken to my officers. We are expecting it at any time. If it comes up, I have my legal team who will do the right thing.
Thank you for watching. Until we come your way again next week, stay blessed.
Fighters, promoting security consciousness.